guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title of today's video, we're going to be reacting to Daydream by J-Hope. Now, if you know me, you will know that I really am loving hearing more of J-Hope's music, so I can't wait to get into this video and see what I can expect. But before we do, if you guys are new to the channel, then welcome and thank you for joining. Make sure you're clicking that subscribe button down below to stay up to date with what I post on this channel. And while you're at it, why not leave a little like on this video as well? It really does help me to see what you're enjoying watching so I can keep on making more videos like this. But with all that being said, I just can't wait to get into this video, so let's go. Oh. The colours? Oh. As always with J-Hope, just absolutely hitting out straight from the start. I feel like instantly the first thing I gained from those lyrics right there was just that sense of, you know, him saying like half and half. Almost like you have two sides to your personality in a way, two sides to who you are and maybe how people perceive you as being. I don't know, but that's what I'm sort of feeling from that. You know, talking about I want to be flooded with love and I want to be able to party. Like I want to be able to do it all. I want to be able to have those, you know, experiences that are what a lot of people want or are hoping for from life. I want to be able to have all of that and be able to have fun and be able to explore and have that, you know, real sense of understanding what it means to love and to be loved. And I also want to be able to, you know, be that person that people perceive me as in terms of, you know, being that incredible artist and talent that people know me for and that side of being who I am as well. Like I want to be able to have everything in a way. I want to be able to have both those sides to me. I just think instantly off the bat, just that whole message coming through already is absolutely just so powerful. Ooh. Even I can't swim out of it. Whoa. Do you know what? We're going to have to go back and re-listen to all of that again because that just went so quick and he was saying so much that I was trying to take everything in. But it was just so much happening. There was so much going on in the imagery as well, like all of the beautiful, incredible, wild, fantastical things going on in all the transitions and the colours and everything that was happening. But I just love that. I want to draw a canvas dream. Like I want to be able to paint my own picture and not have to, you know, maybe necessarily fit all of the expectations that people expect from me. I want to be able to break free of that and be able to paint my own way and not have to maybe listen so much to people's outside perspectives. Maybe. I don't know. But we're going to go back and re-listen to some of those lyrics again because a lot just happened all in one go there, J-Hope. That was incredible. Not a reality refusal. So almost like I'm not trying to, you know, go against everything that I know that is my own reality. Like I know that the life that I'm living and the way that I am almost supposed to be living it in a way. Like I know what reality is, but also it doesn't hurt to have that daydream and dream of what it would be like if I could just have everything and like be able to showcase all of me without having to maybe hide certain parts of who I am in a way. This song's a real deep thinker again, isn't it? And I love that about J-Hope's music. I think the way that he really does just have so many impactful and beautiful lyrics within his music is just incredible. Beyond the boundary line, I love that. Ooh. The whole Alice fell. Whoa, hang on, we're getting the references going on here now. Hang on. So the hole that Alice fell down, I think you just said something like that, sort of like the rabbit hole, you know? That sort of just fantastical sense of being able to just literally do and see anything. I feel like if we think about Alice in Wonderland, it is just like a crazy, wild experience of so many different things that you would never really expect to see or expect to be a probability, but it is almost in a sense. And it's almost like in this song, he's just saying, like, I want to be able to, you know, fantasize and think about that and daydream about that and have all of those wild and crazy thoughts, like how Alice fell down the rabbit hole and like the road that leads to Hogwarts. I mean, I've never seen Harry Potter, But at least I know that, Hogwarts, we're talking again about that sense of things that maybe seem improbable, that sense of magic, that sense of fantasy, that sense of illusion, maybe, in a sense, just being able to mix all of those things together and not really think too much about reality of what's going on in a way. Even though, like he said, I know what my reality is. Like I understand the difference between reality and fantasy and like dreams in a way. It's just like I want to be able to just take a moment for myself and be able to think about what it would be like, what that other picture would be like in my own world in a way. I love it. I do. I think this song is so fun. I think it's just so experimental in the way of like having that almost sense of inception of reality and dream and just all of the fun things like that, and the way we've just got all these cool like backgrounds going on behind J-Hope I think is really awesome as well. Full of mirages. It'll all be mine. I love it. Oh. Wishing on a scar. That is a deep lyric right there. Like wishing on the sky, wishing on a scar. I want to dream. Like maybe, in the past there's been times where you've been negatively impacted by maybe people's thoughts of you, and that has almost left scars. So it is almost like you're wishing upon those moments, those things that you've been through that have made you come out stronger. You're almost like then able to turn that into trying to sort of envision a world where you don't have all of that negativity and that, scrutiny in a way. I just really appreciate how with J-Hope as well, we always have such real and authentic feelings, and just like almost his own thoughts just relayed so incredibly through such fun and exciting beats. Like it's such a deep song when you really look at the lyrics, but if you're just listening to it, it's just like, yeah, this is a vibe. I'm having a good time. But it's so like profound in the lyrics that it actually is phenomenal. Like it really is the way that he just is able to contrast both of those things together. It's so cool. I love the little bucket hat as well. If it was moonlight, I wouldn't want to wake up. Wow. So we've had that sense of sunshine, talking about dreaming in the sunshine, and then that sense of moonlight, you wouldn't want to wake up. Like maybe because the moonlight is shining within that darkness, and maybe in that dream fantasy world, in a way, you'd almost have it envisioned so much so that there wouldn't be that darkness anymore. It would just be constant, sunniness and brightness and light and vibrancy. That is a real hard hitting lyric, isn't it? When you think about it, like, if there was moonlight, I wouldn't almost want that because I just wouldn't want the darkness that surrounds that moonlight. If we're thinking about the sky and dreaming upon the sky is bright, it's blue, it's vibrant, and it shines outside of the sun itself, because it is just that sense of color within the world. But when there's that moonlight, it is just darkness. It's a complete contrast to that whole sense of color in a way. He is so incredibly smart when it comes to his lyricism. It actually is unreal. Hey, get it. We just enter in so many fantastical worlds, and I love it. I do. Ooh. Yeah. I love that. Like, so what if I go out? So what if I have a little party and I have a little drink and, I have a good time? Ultimately, I'm young. This is my youth. Like, this is what I should be doing. It's like, that is almost like, again, just that sense of dreaming about what it would be like if you didn't have maybe those pressures of having to always be that person who people look up to as a role model in a way. I think for me, just hearing that real honesty in this song, talking about, the scrutiny that other people almost have upon, artists and celebrities and idols like J Hope, having that expectation, that real opinion on what they should and shouldn't do when literally it is just like this is their life. So why should your opinion really stop them or halt them from doing anything they want to do. But it is just like he was saying, you know, I've got to focus on work. Like, I've got to remember the reality of what I'm doing right now. But also, what I really would love to do is just have a good time every now and again. You know, just explore and have fun in my youth. I want to be able to do both things, and I should be able to do both things. It shouldn't be just expected of me to just, you know, be that one dimensional person and not have these other sides to me as well and things that I want to do. But just talking about that so openly and just, you know, really showing that, like, above everything else, I know that people have those expectations and those wants from me, but I am human. Like, I have a human nature and wanting to do things that I want to do and things that I want to explore, and, you know, a world that I want to expand upon outside of just what people expect from me. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Wow. 이런 생각 없이 젊음을 느껴보자고. Yo, wild and free. Wild and free. 나도 한번 해보자고. 지 따윈 안 보는 girl all day.
No eggshell walking. I love expert snipe in the heart when you fall every day. Listen, I just really love, again, he's talking about not walking on eggshells. I think, especially for a lot of idols, from what I've seen and what I've heard, you know, just seeing, even on a small scale, the amount that people really do expect in terms of idols constantly being that figure of perfection in a way. It must be absolutely such a daunting thing and such a real stress in life to constantly be watched and be spoken about and be scrutinized for every single moment and every single movement that you make. I think him just saying, like, I almost wish sometimes I didn't have to constantly walk on eggshells over everything that I say and do, because it is just like that never ending sense of pressure, constantly worrying every day about what you say and the way you say it and where you go and who's watching you do certain things and go to certain places. And it just must be like a constant play on your mind all the time of just worrying about every single moment, you know? And just saying, like, I wish there was a way I could sometimes just escape that for a moment and just be able to not have to think about everything all the time, like overthinking, overanalyzing everything all the time. It's just, again, I really appreciate with J Hope especially that sense of honesty that he has within every single song that I've heard so far from him. Like the emotional vulnerability, just again, almost like an insight into his mind, I feel like, is what I find in his music. And I think that is really special. And I think that's why I really appreciate and admire him as an artist, because he does just open those topics of conversation that maybe some other people would be more nervous to, you know, touch upon. And I think that is what sets him aside from so many other people. Get it? And cry with no shame. Since no money. Again, just saying, like, I want to be able to have that sense of comfort in knowing that I can just be myself. Like, I can be vulnerable and open with who I am and these emotions that I feel, whether that's, you know, happiness, sadness, anger, just wanting to cry or shout or scream. Like, I should be able to do that because ultimately I'm like human. But it is almost, in a sense, I feel like sometimes people who look upon idols, I feel like sometimes they almost forget that sense of underneath everything, like underneath all of the talent, underneath all of the incredible, you know, abilities that all of these idols have, they are human. Like, they are people. They feel emotions like every other person. They have that sense of, you know, self like anybody else does. And I think sometimes that does go a little bit forgotten in a way when it comes to idols. And I don't really know where that boundary got lost in a sense, but it's just like in this song, him just saying, like, I want to be able to just be able to express myself in the way that any other person should be able to and not be criticized for that. And I think that is just so incredibly true. won't last forever, because there is just that sense of reality to go back to after that sort of daydream, you know? Mm. Maybe in a sense as well, when I was talking about the moonlight earlier on, I didn't really think of it that way, but now that I've just seen that, it does make a little bit more sense in terms of the fact of as well, like if there was moonlight, I wouldn't want to sort of like wake up from that daydream. Maybe it's because as well, in the night is when we tend to dream, and it's almost like we don't really want to wake up from those dreams sometimes because those dreams are so vivid and so incredible, but like sometimes it's almost like you want to stay in that space. So maybe that's what we're saying as well. Like I wouldn't want to wake up from that night in a sense because that is when dreams happen. I feel like maybe we flipped on that sense of a dream in a way yet again. I think there's definitely so many like inceptions on that sense of dream going on. It's just there's so much happening in everything right now, like the colors, the transitions, the settings and the scenes, and just everywhere that we are. I don't even know where I am. I feel like I'm tripping out a little bit, but honestly I think this song is absolutely incredible. I do. I love this sense of like almost like a shadow effect going on, and the bed just being that light, you know? Oh, that spin.
What's this what's this 공상 속 답은 모두 나 위해 연습
Oh,
Like this 모두 나의 바다치와 나의 fantasy If I was
fantasy.
something If I was something now If I was something If I was something
He's just incredible, isn't he? The beat as well is so good. The little moves we've got going on, okay. Whoa, hang on a second, that is trippy. I was talking about trippy, that is making me actually go a little bit wild. Whoa. That's a lot, isn't it? Wow. So much is going on. So much is going on. Ah, coming back to that sense of reality. Oh, but it is just like you don't want to wake up, so you just turn out the light again. Wow, this song was so good. Honestly, I just think that for me, the whole sense in this song of J Hope just saying, like, almost in a way of that daydream being a sense of escaping from the reality of where his life is. Obviously, being very understanding of the position that he's in, but still having those, thoughts and those visions and those daydreams about life and what life could be outside of the life that he's living in a way. In a sense, again, it felt very much like an inception of him as a person in a way, like, having all those different versions of himself in his own mind in a sense. But I think that the overall feeling of this song just being, being able to be free, being able to experience things like any other person should be able to not have to be criticized for everything that you do and not have to be constantly worrying and stressing about, saying certain things or doing certain things and worrying about the consequences of that from other people. I think just having that sense of a daydream for J Hope being a world outside of the structure and the expectation that people maybe have for him in his reality, I think just the constant play between going back and forth of what is expected and what he almost desires in a way. I thought that was really interesting. I loved the whole flip on that sense of a daydream and a dream and the way we kept on moving through so many different ideas of that, like a dream in terms of actual dreaming, a dream in terms of, that idea in our minds, a dream in terms of, those stories that we hear, those fantasy stories that we hear growing up or that we see on TV, you know, in like Hogwarts or whatever it may be. I thought the way that he kept on playing on that and flipping it was really, really cool. But honestly, I just thought this song was really amazing. I think that hearing more of the honesty and authenticity from artists like J Hope is really empowering and impactful. And I think that this song was just absolutely amazing. So I would love to hear what you guys make of this one and your thoughts on it if you would like to let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching along this video with me. If you did, like I said, make sure you're clicking that subscribe button down below to stay up to date when I post on this channel. And while you're at it, why not leave a like on this video as well? It really does help me to see what you're enjoying watching so I can keep on making more videos like this. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day and I will see you in the next video.